November 19th, 2004, a date that will forever be remembered in the history of basketball.
Well, so obviously it is a very sensitive topic for me. I've looked to do this doc for about 10 years now. That's just you can never see me talking about it publicly. I felt like, it was almost celebrated when I hear people talk about it, right? It's like this conversation about a night that was really just a tough night overall for everybody that was involved. But it never really got to the real story, right? To understand that night, you have to understand everything building up to it.
The end of the game.
Oh man, I mean, this is a question that all of us asked, that everybody that was on that team with the Pistons and everybody on that team with the Pacers, like, yo, dude, what was you thinking? Like, game is over. They got the game in hand. Mm-hmm. And it was just uncalled for. You know what I'm saying? It was one of those, surreal moments. Like, game is over. Like, why even? You know what I mean?
As the game went on, tensions began to boil over. Players on both teams were getting frustrated.
With 12, all 5 starters in double figures. The Pacers have played a very intelligent game tonight. Ben Wallace is fouled.
But the moment that would change everything came with just 45 seconds left in the game. Ben Wallace shoved Ron Artest, and all hell broke loose. Players from both teams got involved in the brawl, with punches and chairs being thrown.
In the crowd. It was just mad. It was the tension. You could feel it before in the warm-ups, and I didn't know the magnitude of the tension between the rivalry between them two. You know what I'm saying? But I'm game. I'm down. This is the side I'm on. I'm riding. You know what I'm saying? Rip and Sheed. That's my boys. Even Chance. That's my boys. I'm cool with them. But at this point, you know how we ride. We on this side.
Being live on air in a moment like that, and Malice and Palace, of course, is 10 times, 100 times that. What's going through your mind? How are you handling that when you're prepared and trained to call a basketball game?
Well, first off, I had experience because that was during kind of the Nick era where they were in fights all the time. So that may have been like my 10th fight of my career that I call. I'm doing blow by blow, not play by play. And what I learned, because the first time you do anything in the business and the first time I called a fight, if I looked back and watched it, I'd be embarrassed because you hyperventilate because you're not used to it. But once you call a few, you realize the only thing to do is do it like it's play by play. You're calling, all right, this is happening here, so you're just documenting it. And you wait till it's over before you start to editorialize and get the emotion in. Although on something like that, to not get emotional with it going on that was impossible. So that was part of it. But that's what I try to focus on is just, all right, I'm calling a basketball game. It just happens to be, instead of shots being taken, it's punches being thrown. So that's the approach to that. Try and stay calm. I know I wasn't calm during it, but that was like nothing I've ever seen. Because what made it so scary was the crowd kept surging down. And you just, one fight was broken up, another 2 started. It seemed like it went on for a half an hour when it maybe lasted 5 minutes. And I remember one sequence when the Pacers, they were getting them off the court. And in the Palace, it was a narrow little place to go to the locker room. So the fans were hanging over, and with anything they could get, including full bottles of water and cans, they're pelting the players with it.
The brawl spilled over into the stands, with players and fans getting into altercations. And then, the moment that would become infamous. Ron Artest, now known as Metta World Peace, charged into the stands to attack a fan who had thrown a cup at him.
Thank you for coming on short notice. We've previously issued a statement, but for those of you who haven't received it, I will read its essence and then take any questions that you may have. Today, I announced the following suspensions resulting from the actions at the Indiana Pacers and Detroit Pistons game on November 19th. Indiana's Ron Artest has been suspended for the remainder of the season. Indiana's Steven Jackson has been suspended for 30 games. Indiana's Jermaine O'Neal has been suspended for 25 games. Indiana's Anthony Johnson has been suspended for 5 games. Detroit's Ben Wallace has been suspended for 6 games. Detroit's Eldon Campbell and Derek Coleman and Chauncey Billups have each been suspended for 1 game for leaving the bench during an on-court altercation. And Indiana's Reggie Miller has been suspended for 1 game for leaving the bench during an on-court altercation. The penalties issued today deal only with one aspect of this incident, that of player misconduct. The actions of the players involved wildly exceeded the professionalism and self-control that should fairly be expected from NBA players. We must affirm that the NBA will strive to exemplify the best that can be offered by professional sports and not allow our sport to be debased by what seem to be declining expectations for the behavior of fans and athletes alike.
The fallout from the brawl was significant. Players were suspended and fined, and the NBA implemented new rules to prevent future incidents.
In the media world, that was really quick to judgment, but didn't necessarily have all the information. And that part really bugged me out. And to still be talking about this thing 17 years later, people asking me all the time about the brawl.
Might not never play another game in this league. And and then we hear about Steven Jackson and Ron Artest conversation. So so Ron as Jack, you think we're gonna get in trouble? You think we're gonna just get fined? Steve Jackson, like, man, we might not never play another game ever again.
Man.
Like, yeah, are we gonna get in trouble? Are we gonna get fined? Like, man, we probably would never play another game, though. Like this probably it.
Oh, man.
So, but, the league handled it, man, and they hand down some tough fines, some tough suspensions, but, we felt it coming, It had crossed the line. Things had crossed the line, you know what I'm saying? You can't go up in the fan. You can't go up in the stand after the fans. The fans can't come on the floor after the players. We all crossed the line, and we all paid for it. That night cost us a lot of money.
Yeah.
But it also disrupted the rival between the Pistons and Pacers. The Pacers, they never recovered from it. We was able to recover and still go on and play in the final, even though we lost to the Spurs, but we was able to recover. They never recovered from it.
Yeah.
Like, Reggie Miller ended up retiring. Ron Artest demanding a trade, and it just broke them up. But what I will say is, we was able to recover because we was that close. They struggle at times because they wasn't always on the same page. We always was on the same page, and we stuck together, and that's what pulled us through it.
Yeah, man.